Hello students, I will show you how to get started on homework 12 and how you can do it in less than an hour. The first thing you need to do is to download the Master Stats workbook, which is going to appear in a minute. Enable the editing and enable content. It's just because it has macros, it's asking you to enable the macros. So what we need to do first is, because homework 12 is basically estimating a population proportion, we're going to go to the very beginning of this sheet, start here, and we're going to click on confidence interval for proportions. So that is the page that I need. Next, I'm going to go and answer some of these questions. So the first question says, for a confidence level of 98%, find the critical value. You can do it by hand. Watch the video to know how to do it by hand, but you can do it easily using the master sheet. You basically are going to focus on rows 7 and 8. You can change the level of confidence here. The critical value is going to be in this box right here. So the level of confidence is 98. I'm going to click here. I'm going to say 98. I'm not going to delete the previous input. I will copy the critical value and I will come here and paste it. The second question is similar to this. The third question, if you have n is equal to 460, so n is equal to 460, I usually write my numbers on a piece of paper before I plug them in, so I don't go back and forth. You might use that strategy. So you're going to say n is equal to 460, and p hat is equal to 0.2, and the margin, we need to find the margin of error at 99% confidence level. So I'm going to go back to the sheet here. You can watch the video and do it by hand, by the way. I don't have an x, so I'm going to delete the x. I have n, which is 460. I'm going to type 460 without deleting the previous one. And I will go to this yellow box and put p hat in there. 0.2 is p hat. And then I have to change the level of confidence, 99%. Now what I need to find is the margin of error. So I'm just going to copy the margin of error and I will head to my homework. It says round to 3 decimals. I'm going to paste it. You can paste it on a different sheet and round your numbers. So you can paste it here. Whoopsie. You need to paste it as a value, by the way. So it doesn't do what it just did now. And then you can round it to 3 decimals, just like it said there. So that is the number. I'm just going to copy it and I will head here and paste it. You can't do the work on the original sheet because these cells are locked and you won't be able to manipulate them. That is for the protection of the sheet, so you don't have to worry about ruining the formulas. Some of the questions will be like this. In a recent poll, 410 people, so that I know is my n. I'm going to say n is equal to 410. Were asked if they like dogs, and 61% said they did. So the proportion who said they did is p hat. That is 0.61. Find the margin of error of this poll at 95% confidence level. So 95% confidence level. I have all of the information I needed, and now I don't have x. I have n, which is 410. I have p hat, which is 0.61. And then I need that at 95% confidence level. And what I'm computing is the margin of error again. So the question says round to 3 decimals. Again, I need to paste this as a value. And then I can round it here to 3 decimals. Copy and head to my homework and paste it right there. Some of the questions will ask for confidence intervals. The confidence intervals can be written in 3 ways, 3 major ways. The 3 ways are either P is going to be in the middle, which is the population proportion, greater than a box, less than a box. That means we need to put the lower bound of the interval in the first box and the upper bound in the second box. Sometimes it's given in an interval notation that we already know. So the lower bound is going to go in the first box and the upper bound is going to be in the upper box. Sometimes it's given a box plus or minus another box. Basically what it means write it in the form of the point estimate, which is in this case the sample proportion plus or minus the margin of error. So the first box is going to contain the sample proportion, and the second box is going to contain the margin of error. So in this case, I have the first notation. I know I'm aiming to look for the lower bound and the upper bound. Let me look for the information. Out of 600 people is N. 552 had kids, so X is equal to 552. I know that because it's a proportion of the total number that I'm surveying, or they're surveying. So X is always less than N. Based on this, construct 90% confidence interval for the true population proportion of people with kids. So the level of confidence is 90%. That's all I need to construct the confidence interval. So I'm just going to go to this Excel sheet and I'm going to plug my information. X is 552, N is 600, and then P hat, we don't have it. So I'm going to delete it. The level of confidence is 90%. Now I need the lower bound. I'm going to copy the lower bound. I'm going to paste it over here, and I will copy the upper bound, and I will paste it over here. So that is how you answer this type of question. A political candidate has asked you to conduct a poll to determine what percentage of people support her. If the candidate only wants 3% margin of error, so here I have the margin of error is 3%. At 90% confidence level, the confidence level is 90%, we need to compute the sample size needed. So the sample size needed in this case, I can compute it with the second part of the sheet, which is this part. Now what I need is the margin of error, which was given 3%. And since the P hat was not given to me, we're going to assume it's 50%. And then the level of confidence is 90%. So the sample size is going to be this number, 752. I'm going to paste it right there. And that is how you answer this type of question. All right, let's see here. You want to obtain a sample to estimate a population proportion. At this point in time, you have no reasonable estimate for the population proportion, which means P hat is going to be 50% if you don't have an estimation for the population proportion. You would like to be 99% confident, so the level of confidence is 99%. That your estimate is within 0.1% of the true population proportion, which is the margin of error. The margin of error is 0.1%. Now I'm going to go again here to Excel, and I will use the bottom part of the sheet. The margin of error is 0.1. The P hat is 50%. I'm not going to change it. The level of confidence is 99%. Now the level of confidence is big, so sometimes I will get an error here for some reason. So let me see if this is going to work. Okay, that's what I expected. Oh, 99.9%. My bad. Here we go. Let me fix it. 99.9%. And that is the number. Copy and paste it there. If this question keeps coming wrong, no matter what you do, just choose a similar question, get a similar question, and it's going to change it for you. Some of these the coding isn't working or functioning properly, so you probably need to just try a similar question. We need the confidence. For a confidence level, we need the critical value. I showed you how to do something like that. And I showed you also how to find the lower bound and the upper bound of the confidence interval. You have every information you need. You don't have an X and you have P hat in this case. So you're just going to delete the X value and plug P hat in this box right there. Just remove the X, change N, and plug P hat there. I'm not going to do it for the sake of saving some time. You intend to estimate a population proportion with confidence interval. The data suggests that the normal distribution is a reasonable approximation for the binomial distribution in this case. While it is an uncommon confidence level, find the critical value that corresponds to a confidence level of 83.8. So all of this question is just asking you to find the critical value for 83.8. So you plug it in there, and that is your critical value. And don't forget to round this to 3 decimals just because it says so. So if you round it, you're going to end up with this number, and that's how you answer this one. Okay. express the confidence interval if it's given in the format of an interval. We need to change the format of this interval into the format of the point estimate plus or minus the margin of error. So let me delete what I did previously. So we know that the upper bound is equal to the point estimate plus the margin of error. And we know that the lower bound of the interval is the point estimate minus the margin of error. Now, if we added the lower bound plus the upper bound, the upper bound plus the lower bound, we will add these two equations, equation 1 and equation 2 together. We will get 2 p hat, and you will notice these will cancel together. We don't want 2 p hat, we want just 1 p hat. So dividing both sides by 2, this will lead us to the first formula of p hat is equal to the upper bound plus the lower bound divided by 2. Similarly, if you subtract equation 2 from equation 1, we know when we subtract, we change the signs of the second equation. The stroke eraser. So when we subtract, we change the sign. We change this sign and we change this sign. Now, we're going to subtract, so upper bound minus lower bound equals, these will cancel, and we will have 2 margin of error. We're going to divide both sides by 2, so this will lead us to the second formula. Margin of error is equal to upper bound minus lower bound divided by 2. You have to keep these parentheses if you're working on Excel, because Excel doesn't understand that it has to do the addition first, so you need to make it do the addition or subtraction first and then divide. Now, to answer that question, I am going to take my numbers. 50.9 is the lower bound. Lower bound is 50.9 and the upper bound is 67.7. I'm going to head to Excel and I'm going to say, okay, here is my upper bound and here is my lower bound. The upper bound is 67.7 and the lower bound is 50.9. Now, to find p hat, we know that if we add those two numbers and divide by 2, so upper bound plus lower bound, close parentheses, divide by 2, that is basically my p hat. So I'm just going to copy that and head to the homework and submit the first part only. Let me see here and go solve for the second part. So the margin of error, I know that I have to subtract now. So I'm just going to open parentheses, upper bound minus lower bound, always start with a big number, divide by 2, and that will give me the margin of error in percentage form, so I don't need to do anything about it. And that's how you answer this type of question. Let's see if we were given some information like the number of successes, which is p hat, and the sample size and the confidence level, and you want to compute the margin of error. How would you do that? So we want to find the margin of error given that the sample size n is 131, and the number of successes is basically p hat. So p hat is 45.8, I'm going to write it as a decimal, so 0.458, and the level of confidence is 90%. I'm going to head to my sheet, and I will remove x since I don't have an x here. N is 131, and p hat is 0.458, and then the level of confidence is 90%. Now what I need is the margin of error. So I'm just going to copy the margin of error. And notice here that I need to report it as a percentage. It is not a percentage already. So I need to make it into percentage. I'm going to paste it as a value. And then I'm going to use the percentage form. And I will add 1 decimal, 2 decimals. Let me see the rounding here. To 1 decimal. We need to report our answer accurate to 1 decimal. So I'm just going to go here and round it to 1 decimal decrease. So 7.2%. So I'm just going to type here 7.2%. I need to find the lower bound and the upper bound. I showed you previously how to find that. We have n is equal to 82. and the number of successes is 42, so that is X in this case because it's not a proportion already. And we have a level of confidence 95%. We have everything we need. We have X, we have N. You just need to remove P hat from here and plug X and N. Remove P hat from this box because we don't have it. And then compute the rest. And you will find the lower bound and the upper bound. Follow the directions. Again, here we have N. Out of 400 people sampled, 152 preferred candidate A. Based on this, estimate the population of the voting population. The proportion of the voting population, P, prefers candidate A. So this is based on a sample. We need to estimate the population proportion for the entire population. With the level of confidence at 99%, we have N, we have X, we have the level of confidence. We have just to plug it into the sheet and find the answer. So you want to obtain a sample to estimate a population proportion based on a previous evidence. You believe the population proportion is approximately 31%. So P hat in this case is 0.31 or 31%, sorry. We need to write it as a percentage. You would like to be 90% confident, so the level of confidence is 90%, and you need to be within 0.1 of the true population. So the margin of error is 0.1%. Now I'm going to head to Excel, and I will use this bottom part of Excel again. In this case, I have the margin of error 0.1. I have P hat, which is 31%, so I'm just going to type 31% here, and the level of confidence is 90%. So this is the sample size that we need in order to estimate the population proportion. Here we just need to choose one of these. We're estimating a population proportion. In this case, insurance companies are interested in knowing the population percent of drivers. Percent means proportion, so that's why we're looking for proportion, who always buckle up before riding in a car. They randomly surveyed 409 drivers, so that's N, and find that 280 claim to always buckle up, that's X. We need to construct a confidence level, 99% confidence interval of the population proportion. So the numbers, we just plug them into the sheet and compute the lower bound and the upper bound. X is 280, because it's always a smaller number. 409 is the sample size, and the level of confidence is 99%. So the lower bound is this number, and the upper bound is this number. You want to obtain a sample to estimate a population proportion. At this point in time, you have no reasonable estimate for the population proportion. You would like to be 99.5% confident that your estimate is within 3% of the true population. So you were given the level of confidence. The proportion is not given, so it's 50%, and the margin of error is 3. So all you need to do is to go to the bottom part. So 3, the margin of error, this is not given, so it's 50%. And the level of confidence is 99.5, so 99.5, and that would be the sample size needed. And that's it. That's homework 12, done in less than 20 minutes. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know.